Apparently, the Pentagon had a fascinating project called Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Now, if you're the Pentagon, you're going to want to identify threats in the air. That makes sense. So were they trying to identify Chinese or Russian threats? No. Indian, Pakistani? No. UFOs, alien threats. Awesome. This whole story is made of awesome. At the end, I'm going to show you a video of UFO. I think, and apparently the US government thinks. Hold for it because you want all the details of this amazing story. So New York Times wrote this. They explained that there was actually a group and it was run by a military intelligence official, Luis Elizondo. I'm going to give you clips from him too in a second. On the 5th floor of the Pentagon C ring, deep within the building's maze. Already it's cool. From now on, anything that's secretive, I'm going to say that's on the 5th floor of the C ring. Okay, which is great. Okay, now they explained that this program ran for a little while, and it might still be running, and that the Pentagon had looked into this in the past. So let me give you details. The Defense Department has never before acknowledged the existence of the program, which it says it shut down in 2012. But its backers say that while the Pentagon ended funding for the effort at that time, the program remains in existence. That's our old alien beep. Okay, for the past 5 years, they say officials with the program have continued to investigate episodes brought to them by service members while also carrying out their other Defense Department duties. Now, look, you know, your Uncle Harry, who's halfway there and halfway not there mentally, he comes over at Thanksgiving and tells you about UFOs that did X, Y, and Z to them. You say maybe, maybe not, right? But most of these data is collected from US service members. So now, does that mean that a guy, because he's in the US military, is by definition more trustworthy? No, not necessarily, of course, but so when Bob comes in and tells me, look, man, I know how aircraft act and they don't act that way, I give that 0% credibility. Okay, when a Navy pilot's in the air and he sees a UFO and says an aircraft does not act that way, I give it a lot more credibility. Okay, it's not the end all be all, but pretty interesting. So let's go back in time for when they originally started doing programs like this and find out what they found out back then, when we had a lot less technology at our disposal. In 1947, the Air Force began a series of studies that investigated more than 12,000 claimed UFO sightings before it was officially ended in 1969. The project, which included a study codenamed Project Blue Book, I love names like that, started in 1952, concluded that most sightings involved stars, clouds, conventional aircraft, or spy planes. Although 701 remained unexplained. Okay, but that was back then, and we just didn't have that much technology, and people believed in more kooky stuff back then. So, all right, grain of salt, okay. Now let's come back to what was happening recently. The shadowy program, parts of it remain classified, began in 2007, and initially it was largely funded at the request of Harry Reid, a Nevada Democrat who was a Senate Majority Leader at the time and who has long had an interest in space phenomenon. Okay, hey, Harry Reid did something in the Senate, bless his heart. Okay, and if he found aliens, okay, maybe he rescued his legacy a little bit. Anyways, by the way, I like Project Blue Book. If somebody comes to me and says, do you want to be involved in Project Blue Book? My answer is a definitive yes or a definitive no. Okay, because it either involves murdering somebody or finding aliens. I'm in for the alien part, not in for the murdering things. Okay, anyway, you can tell that I find this story cool, but they have real evidence we're going to get to in a second. So where'd the money come from? Well, most of the money went to an aerospace research company run by a billionaire entrepreneur and longtime friend of Mr. Reid's, Robert Bigelow, who is currently working with NASA to produce expandable craft for humans to use in space. Now, the money that was allocated to it was tiny. It was only $22 million out of us at the time $600 billion Pentagon budget. It was 22 million, not billion. So this is a very small number for the Pentagon. I don't like that it went to Harry Reid's friend. You can't apparently do anything in the Senate without at least a little bit of corruption sprinkled in. They would argue that it's not, but I wish that it went to someone who was not a friend of the guy who financed it through the government. Anyway, even Harry Reid says this was so-called black money. Senator Stevens knows about it. Inouye, Senator Inouye knows about it, but that was it, and that's how we wanted it. So it was those three senators that okayed it. Also, the first time black money has ever been used in a positive connotation. Usually, black money is, oh, that thing where we sent a lot of money and weapons down to Nicaragua and 22,000 civilians died. That was black money. Or, oh, bunch of billionaire donors got together and got themselves $1 trillion tax cut. That was black money. So this is actually black money or dark money that actually went to something interesting to try to see if there's UFOs. But notice, by the way, those two senators who approved it back then, apparently in a secured room in the Capitol with just those three senators, Reid, Inouye, and Stevens. Reid is now retired. Inouye has passed away, and so has Stevens. They were both really old. Anyway, now back to Bigelow, who's the one doing the research. You might have seen him on 60 Minutes. He's very wealthy, and he's certainly very positive about whether there are alien forces on this planet and whether they've reached out to us. He explained that he was, quote, absolutely convinced that aliens exist and that UFOs have visited Earth. Let me break down that sentence for you guys, because do aliens exist? Almost certainly, 99.99999% chance, and you could keep going with those nines, because what? We're the only thing in the whole universe with billions upon billions of stars and galaxies and planets. We're the only sentient life forms in the universe? That's preposterous. Almost certainly not the case, and it's egotistical to think that it would be the case, and I would argue borderline ignorant. Whether they visited Earth, the second part of the sentence, is a completely different matter, and that requires evidence, and previously we had not had it. So let's dive in a little bit more. We're working our way towards the video here. Working with Mr. Bigelow's Las Vegas-based company, the program produced documents that describe sightings of aircraft that seem to move at very high velocities with no visible signs of propulsion, or that hovered with no apparent means of lift. Interesting. Now, look, this guy is convinced that aliens exist. I don't know if he became convinced because of the project or he was convinced before the project. That would affect his credibility a little bit, but remember, they're gathering the evidence largely from US military members and other credible sources, okay? Officials with the program have also studied videos of encounters between unknown objects and American military aircraft, including one released in August of a whitish oval object about the size of a commercial plane, chased by two Navy FA-18F fighter jets from the aircraft carrier Nimitz off the coast of San Diego in 2004. Now, that stuff's real, man. So you do that information whatever you like. Let me just give you a couple more facts before the video. They said they collected metal alloys and other materials that Mr. Elizondo and program contractors said had been recovered from unidentified aerial phenomena. I don't know how they know that it was recovered from those UFOs, if they know that. But boy, that's interesting. Also, researchers studied people who said they had experienced physical effects from encounters with the objects and examined them for any physiological changes. But remember, a lot of this is still classified, so we don't know if there were any physiological changes or what the results there were. The program collected video and audio recordings of reported UFO incidents, including footage from a Navy FA-18 Super Hornet showing an aircraft surrounded by some kind of glowing aura traveling at high speed and rotating as it moves. And ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, brace for impact. This appears to be a US military plane and its crew coming into contact with an unidentified flying object. Watch.
Dude, this is a fucking drone, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's like look at that thing. It's rotating.
They didn't have me until it rotated. And then when it rotated, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because it looks unidentified flying object. Could it be that the Chinese have come up with a drone that's amazing and can do that stuff? Maybe. But if it's not maybe the Chinese, I don't know what the other maybe is. So mind blown. Hold, here comes Elizondo. He was in charge of the program. He went on television recently because he ran it until it was financed from 2007 to 2012. And then he continued to run it with the CIA and others when it wasn't technically financed. Finally, in October, he was frustrated that Defense Secretary Mattis was not giving it the support that it needed. So he resigned and now has come public. Let's listen.
So let me just ask you point blank the question. Do you believe that life from somewhere else, while you ran this program, came here, visited, observed?
I will tell you unequivocally that through the observation, scientific methodologies that were applied to look at this phenomena, that these aircraft, we'll call them aircraft, are displaying characteristics that are not currently within the US inventory, nor in any foreign inventory that we are aware of.
I love how military guys talk. It is not currently in the US military inventory, nor in any inventory we're aware of. Already sounds badass. Burnett doing a great job here with a follow-up question. Let's watch.
So I know you're being clear, but I mean, the answer is yes.
My personal, I can't speak on behalf of the government. Obviously, I'm not in the US government anymore. My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone, whatever that means.
Here's what it means. They're here. Look, guys, I don't know. Of course I don't know. It requires evidence. And so before, there was no evidence that we knew of publicly. Now there is some. Make of it what you will, and I don't know what to make of it. And it's entirely possible that they are unidentified and will later be identified, and we'll figure out what the hell is going on. We gotta, you know what? I need an alien ban until we figure out what the hell is going on. Okay, we gotta ban people coming in from other countries. I mean, other planets and galaxies. Anyway, it's exciting times. The other thing that tripped me out from that video is when the pilot said, quote, "There's a whole fleet of them." Wow. That's all I gotta say about that. You just watched a video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.